producers, and this was therefore leading us to begin to beg our own goods from Europe and from Russia and other countries. But Senegal is a land that can really produce locally all these things that we are in need of. So instead of empowering our Senegalese farmers, we are basically bounding them in order to be able to only expect good from Europe, from Russia, Ukraine, Europe, and other countries.
So 150 billion of importation of wheat every year. So peas in Africa will be poor because peas in Africa are left behind to the extreme of the other peasants. So as long as it will be the case, we will not have food sovereignty, which makes part of using the product and produce what we produce. You understand that imperialism and capitalism seeks to drop the generation, the production of our population to its industry, so then delays the development of production for Benin, of Togo, of Niger, etc. Instead of developing agriculture in Senegal, instead of developing industry of Senegal and the industry of West Africa, we instead develop the agriculture of capitalist interests and industry and factory of capitalists. So through this structural adjustment program of the World Bank, there was a policy that was put in place called industrial policy, which is liberal, ultra-liberal, with the objective to see the Western African states and its neighbor open the borders to the benefits of multinational capitalist country. So as a result, 64% of small enterprises in Senegal die. So you shouldn't be astonished that with a rate of death at the level of medium enterprises as all other countries of Western Africa, Senegal, the West Africa, will not be able to deal with the question of unemployment. So today, in Senegal, every year, there are 300 new entrants of the workforce, and the conditions that are put in place by the state, which is colonial, will only allow to create 30,000. You'll see the gap, the space, that is 30,000 that are entrants, and while we have 300 that we have as demand. Now, that will see a big gap that are in the unemployment. Now, the desert of Sahara, they will take now the Mediterranean Sea to take the way which our riches uses by the looting, and Africa, Western Africa in particular. So this is what is meant by imperialism for us, the states of the Western Africa, and then Senegal. This is what neocolonialism meant. So the World Bank and the IMF have imposed to us the structural adjustment program. So telephony are in the hands of France. Water is managed by France, and a number of sectors are in the hands of France. So when we speak about sovereignty, a country like Senegal, and it's also available for other countries, they don't have sovereignty concerning water on the level of telephone, and they have non-sovereignty whatsoever. So this is the situation that we found ourselves in Senegal. And earlier on, I spoke about agriculture with the importation of wheat, and every year there is a reasonable amount of import of products that are linked to the blade. So the way towards the Europe, when the European Union imposes to our president, which are puppets of imperialism, to sign MOU, for instance, which are looting the oceans of Africa, they are looting the seas of the Western Africa, and then the 700 kilometers of coast. You will not be astonished that Senegal does not have fish, and these are transformed by the trade, and then the young people of Senegal are finding themselves without any employment. This is the situation that we find ourselves in Senegal. The reason why it is important, it's necessary for us, the people of Senegal, for us Africans of this part of Western Africa and Africa in general, to struggle, to fight, to get back our sovereignty, to fight, to get back our sovereignty, and to be independent, to be sovereign on all aspects. In Senegal, there is a currency that's called the CA franc. It was founded in 1945 by France. Now, the characteristic of this currency is to ease the importation used by African countries, and Senegal uses the currency. There are 8 others, and then 15 in total, including the Comoros, that will ease the import. Now, so when this country export on the international market, these goods are not competitive. You will understand that our agricultural sector, our industry, will find themselves in the situation, and why we have our enterprises are in concurrence with the products that come from France, coming from Europe and countries of capitalism in nature. This is what I wanted to bring up as an introduction. Now, as a result, the other consequences of this situation is that neo-colonial states don't have enough means concerning the needs of the people in the different areas. Now, in Senegal, we have today a big gap of 4,000 such as so. Senegal does not have specialists, they don't have medical doctors and agriculture. And what are the consequences? What is the consequences of not having 4,000 ladies in the nursing industries? So that means every day in Senegal, there is about 4 to 5 women that die from pregnancy that are not taken care of. Every day in Senegal, we have more than 50 children less than 5 years that die from diseases like respiratory diseases and diarrhea. This is the drama of imperialism. This is the drama of imperialism and capitalism. So we fight against the bombing by fascists and Zionists attacking on Palestine, but also against the bombing that is being imposed by the World Bank that are being thrown by imperialist country in Africa, in Western Africa, because these bombings are deadly. 4 to 5 women who are dying from pregnancies, and per year that will be more than 1,700 who died every year from them, because we don't have structures of health as well as nurses in the health sectors. That is more than 15,000 children dying per year. These are genocidary numbers. So us Africans, and an African in particular in the West, we are facing. So this is what the main opposition party that I spoke earlier on is being imprisoned, and about a considerable number of his followers are prisoners and are being also kept detained. Since my time is always up, I will end up by saying this. If neocolonialism and association, if colonization and annexing of a territory of a nation by another to exploit it and then to stop its development, meaning indigenous development, neocolonialism and the association who has been exploited. They are of an exploitative nature. So our role and our work today is to decolonize Africa and to set Africa free from the yoke of imperialism. What can we use as a platform as workers on the earth? First of all, I believe our people and our oppressed workers have got to be united against the reactionary wars against imperialism and capitalism, because it is a necessary war. Irrespective of our differences, we can be united to say no against the war for imperialism, to the war of colonialism, and we need to be united and be a solidary people everywhere we find ourselves towards the exploitation of workers and the exploitation of the workers. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Comrade Guy, for that very interesting analysis and input about the bombs, the social bombs, the political bombs, the ideological bombs through structural adjustment programs of the West. Thank you for that. Now I would like to also introduce our next speaker. Comrade Philippe Nougenum is the first Secretary of the Communist Party of Benin, President of the Alliance pour la Patrie, and President of the West African People's Organization. Please give him a warm hand.
Amandla. Amandla. Saubona. Bonjour. Good morning. Good morning. Sobido. Salam alaikum. Excusez-moi, je parlais en français. C'est un dilemme de l'humanité parce que l'Afrique fait partie de l'humanité et nous sommes obligés encore de parler français. Demain, nous parlerons de nos propres langues. Les amis arabes parlent leur langue. L'Afrique de l'Est, de plus en plus, parle aussi le Swahili. L'Afrique du Sud règle son problème un peu. Nous parlons encore français. Alors, chers camarades du monde entier,
dear comrades from all over the world,
au nom du Parti communiste du Bénin,
in the name of the Communist Party of Benin,
de l'organisation
in the name of the organization of the Western African people, in the name of all the workers and the people of Western Africa, I bring you my greetings. I greet the heroic struggle of the people of Palestine who suffer from their martyrs, and all our thoughts today go to the martyrs, to the women, to the children that are being murdered, massacred on a daily basis by the Zionist Israel. It is a common struggle for all and common for the humanity. Today I'll speak concerning Western Africa. It is true that events for Gaza has shadowed the events of those that are happening in Western Africa. It is a war. It is a war indeed that is led by imperialist forces, by NATO, with France as an instrument against the Western African people. So a number of you here present will not know Western Africa. What does that mean? Today, Western Africa, it has more or less 425 million of population, meaning 1/3 of the United Africa. So Western Africa It is 6,144 kilometers square, meaning 1/5 of the space of Africa. That shows you that it's a bigger entity that go through humiliation on a daily basis. The bombing, as the comrade of Senegal alluded. Those are bombs that are deadly on a daily basis. Western Africa, which is a cradle of the empire from Ghana, of Mali, of Sorai. It is an ensemble of people that are being united by the same tradition, same history, who went through the same struggle. First of all, the slave trade, but above all, which is the transatlantic trade, slave trade, of the autonomy of African and change the course of things. That means Western Africa, which makes a bigger portion, but is being deviated by this scourge, which is slave trade on one hand and colonization on the other hand, which causes the delay of this important part of Africa that we speak about. So if we speak about the movement that's happening today in Western Africa, and we call that anti-patriotic French revolutions against the French, we have to consider two things: colonization and the system of decolonization. This allows us to understand what is happening currently in the Sahel region in comparison to all other countries that are having British colonies. Now, the region suffered after the Congress of Berlin. Four colonial dominant: France, England, Portugal, and Spain. But the two main colonizers of Western Africa is the English and the French. So when we speak about colonization and decolonization, it is comparing the two, because Spain has only the Spanish Sahara, which is being now invaded by Morocco, and Portugal too, which is Guinea, Bissau, and then Cape Verde. France possesses in Western Africa 8 colonized countries: Senegal, Ivory Coast, Benin, Togo, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Conakry, Guinea. The Great Britain is 4. It's Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, and Sierra Leone. Great Britain has a system of individual, has left an autonomy to the people of Africa in their tradition, which was not the case of France as a whole. France has a politic of assimilation, trying to destroy all the autonomous countries, destroy all the personalities of the African people. That is not enough. It is more having access to independence that the two systems have varied. France has been engineered to maintain the French colonies, the ex-colonies, to the status of remaining colonized. They have succeeded, while England has a little bit freed their colonized. France maintained politically, military, the whole French-speaking space of Western Africa. So while countries are gaining their independence, France makes them sign a secret agreement discovering all this secret of an industry, of language, of currency, and all that you can think of, and that makes it that impossible for you to develop yourself. Now, the 8 colonized countries, meaning they're having a headquarters in UN, they have a flag, and that will be it. But as far as foreign policy is assumed by the United States, and the currency is being still led by France today. This is what we are facing. Now, these agreements remain and are still in place to this day. Now, countries that are of the focal point of the French dominion in Africa, meaning 2 countries mainly, by whom the other countries are dominant, is Senegal and then Côte d'Ivoire. Senegal as a focal point, disseminator of the French ideas, Côte d'Ivoire as an economic space led, of course, by France. The reason why these 2 countries are on a permanent basis managed by the French military bases in Dakar, and then there's the one also in Côte d'Ivoire. They are well taken care of, and this is what is being drawn, and this is a system that is put in place that we call France-Africa. Now, officially, we have France, a country of human rights, a democratic country, but under that, there is a structure that is put in place which is political and cultural in nature, which has as an objective to follow every country and to eliminate every leaders that come against the policies that they put in place. So I'm not going to go on detail on the questions of that. I'll just take 2 cases. One has been said by my comrade. It is the question of the CFA franc, meaning France has put in place a system which not even England, not even the other countries has been endorsed that. As we say that it was created in 1945 and makes up 8 countries of West Africa: Benin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Niger, Senegal, and Togo. And 6 countries from Central Africa: Cameroon, Central African Republic, Congo Republic, Gabon, Chad, and the Comoros.
Then, this is a system. How is it organized? This organization that is led by the French, it is focusing on bank institutions, the CEO and the Bank of the State of West Africa and the Bank of Comores. The system of currency of France CFA is based on 4 principles: the centralization of the reserve for French, the Africa of city of CFA, the free conversation of France CFA, and the free circulation of capital between France and the African countries. To these principles, we add also the participation of France. France is there to all participation and decision. As you could see with all protestation, what we called the currency of Ouattara and Macron, but despite that, the system remained intact, and France continued to detain all the economy, and he was trying to put in the world market and create its own interest. I would like to bring some of the information to the importance of all these situations. But these are old data. They date from 2010 in the way of operation. That was led by the French. Benin, which is a big country, economically speaking, with 700 million of francs CFA, which we can say something like 2,000 billion of euro. Burkina Faso, 654 million CFA. And Ivory Coast, which is the center of the economy of French, the Ivory Coast has 460,000 million of CFA, or 7 billion of euro. Bissau Guinea, 44 billion of CFA, 64,000 million of euros. Mali, 984 billion of CFA, that French detain. That is 5,000 billion of euro. The Niger is 400 billion of CFA, and that was an equivalent of 65 million of euro. In Senegal, 6 billion of 200 billion of euro, and Togo, 8 billion of CFA, or 2,000 of euro. So these are the data dated from 2010, and no country can touch that. All belong to France, and he controls everything. Today we'll talk about Niger, of course. God of Niger. This is some examples from Niger. Niger is a colony from France. That is giving 35% of energy that is consumed in France of uranium. 100,000 billion of kilometer square, or 100 million of its inhabitants. And we can say 30% of the, more than 70% of its population are living in poverty. They have been denied water, electricity, and all the necessity. 71% of women are illiterate. And
le Niger occupait à ce moment, donc, disons, la 182e place au plan de la...
Niger is occupying 188th place in the world, but the country is very rich. Which is an example. According to Areva sources, in 2006, the company had 100,000 ton of uranium and receiving 300,000 CFA, 300 million of francs CFA. That's how they are looting African country. And not France. The French people, they do not like to leave Niger free because of the looting. France had committed a crime, serious crime in Africa. If the United Kingdom, they have made also some of the plunder in other of the countries, France had made more crime in Africa, more than other colony. But people, they don't know, and they're not aware. In 1954, with the revolution of Madagascar, France has killed 88 people in 3 months. In Algeria, with the revolution of 1854, with the nationalists uprising, the French has killed again many of the militants. And we have the total number of 400 people that were killed. In Cameroon also, it was 400 deaths. The genocide in Rwanda, French also is included in there, and 800. the war in Congo-Brazzaville, there was also 205,000 in Niger. We had 1 million of people that lost their life. In Libya, was also invaded by Macron, by NATO, and we had again a lot of people that lost their life. These are the wars that happened in West Africa, and all was in the command of French people. And all these were happening all the time. France has made its intervention more than 100 times in West Africa. We have to banish France. Let us banish French imperialism. We have to banish NATO. We have to banish EU. We have to banish Zionists. We have to banish Zionists. Vive the struggle of people of Palestine. Vive the struggle of the people of Africa. Vive the struggle of the people of South Africa. You people from South Africa, you have to take over your economy. These are the questions. These are the difference between the treatment of French colony and English. That's what was led to all this uprising. In 1960, the revolution of France, they were in the backwardness when we talk comparatively to English. Then, what is the signification of the coup and the patriotic revolutions which are currently happening in Africa? Since sometimes we are talking about this coup, but that was launched in Africa since 2021. There were a patriotic revolution, anti-French revolution. This is a revolution which is patriotic and anti-French imperialism. We have a powerful protestation like Mali, Camorra. And because of that, we can see the coup. And the people could see that. That was a revolution. Because the leaders that are coming from that, what are they doing? They take over. And with the pressure of the population and take all the necessary. And they try and compromise with what was laid as the normal foundations. That's how it's happening. It's only French who is on the leadership. This is a patriotic revolution, anti-imperialism of French. And what we have to do is to put in question all that colonial movement, which was trying to assist France and try to penalize our currency, and it was a stage which was really revolutionary. I would like now to conclude because I've gone beyond my time. On all this revolution, now these are questions. The coup, there's a revolutions here and there. Now we are seeing all this coup. There's some coup that happened in Gabon, but the coup that has happened in Niger, in Burkina, with a young captain, and in Mali, these are patriotic coups. These are young officials who were in war, who went to war, and they found out that the terrorists that are killing them, they are together with France. And France is together with their government. That's how they revolt. That is the problem. That's why that movement, that revolution, had some limits also. You cannot underestimate it. Why this coup? It's because of insignificance of the institution of revolution in West Africa. And they pass their role to some officials so that they can take over. That's why they've got some limit. With all this in mind, then we are saying they have created what we call WAPO. This is West African People Organization. That's how all the states must come together, and we have to struggle against imperialism, and more particularly the French. And the state is in two stages. We have two systems currently.
For French-speaking countries, we need to try to come as close as the English-speaking country have done, meaning we need to do away with our colonial contract. But for the whole Africa, we also need to stop the looting, the imperialist looting, and commit to stand together in fighting against the advancement. So you can see that we have two levels of struggle here. So what is the objective of this OPAO, Organization of the People of West Africa? Our aim is to help to free and advance a patriotic revolution, and to gather, to have advanced the Pan-African unity of the people. This is what we aim to do in our organization. OPAO is subscribing to active Pan-Africanism as defined and executed by Pan-Africa Today, which has its office here in Johannesburg. We are against, we are for anti-imperialism, anti-racism, and anti-colonialism. And this is why we have gathered together in Ghana on the 10th of December 2022 to create our Western organization, OPAO, to help that we will unite the Western Africa to fight together for the freedom of the people of Africa, but also the people of West Africa. This is our aim, and we are trying to work together, and we have a joy to have with us our comrades from all over the world, especially the Assembly, the International Assembly of the People, and we are trying to liberate humanity as a whole. So, for the sake of not being an empty structure, we have various activities, and I would like to present them to you. We are also counting, therefore, on your solidarity on every movement of the left for the freedom of women and men of Western Africa and of Africa in general, for a solution that will stand towards the question of the dilemma of humanity. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Philippe Nougenum. Thank you also for reminding us about how French colonization in West Africa continues to enslave Africans on the continent. Thank you for that. Our next speaker, I have the pleasure of introducing Comrade Manuel Bertoldi. He is a leader of the Rural Federation for Production and Rootedness in Argentina and of ALBA movements. Can you please give him a warm hand? Thank you.
Bueno, buen día, compañeros.
Good evening, good afternoon, comrades. It is a great pleasure
to be here in this conference, meeting together and reflecting about the task that we have ahead of us. I want to give my thanks especially to the comrades of South Africa and of the entire African continent for having received us with so warmly, and also to the Secretariat of the IPA, the International People's Assembly, who have worked so hard to make this conference happen. We come from Latin America, where recently we had a regional conference in Chile, of all places, 50 years after the coup. That attack of the United States with the military of Chile was not a coup against the people of Chile. It was a coup against the entirety of the Global South. Vijay rightly said in that regional conference that when the coup happened, there were massive mobilizations in India, in front of the U.S. Embassy, thousands of kilometers. And I also want to take the chance, now that we mentioned India, to send our solidarity from here to the comrades Pravir from Newsclick, unjustly incarcerated by the Modi government. We must fight against this attack against our comrades in India. The 73 coup in Chile is an example of the imperialist strategy in Latin America, which is going to, in 1863, Monroe set out a strategy that is still going on today. America for the Americans. America is the property of the United States. At that time, the struggle was against the European powers. This changed across 2 centuries, but what is still going on with the imperial obsession is to dominate our peoples in any way possible. Coups, invasions, assassinations, the manipulation of our political system, destabilization, expropriation of our resources, the looting of our natural resources, bombings, ideological and cultural bombings. These are just some of the mechanisms that imperialism uses in alliance with national bourgeois classes that do not think about regional projects, but of maximizing profit. Against that, we are struggling, comrades. And in that struggle, our peoples have had victories. Our peoples have had revolutions, even under the noses of the empire. If we talk about anti-imperialism, sovereignty, we cannot not mention the Cuban Revolution and its example for all peoples in resistance. We say from here, Cuba lives and resists. Viva la Revolución Cubana. Long live the Cuban Revolution. In our victories, our peoples have given birth to leaders like Hugo Chavez with his Bolivarian Revolution, which retook the path to liberation, to make Venezuela at the forefront of the sovereignty of our continent, leading recently to one of the most important victories that our peoples have had, the defeat of ALCA, a trade treaty for the Americas. We can talk about how that process of resistance took place. at the beginning of this century, but I want to highlight 4 elements that were key to understand that defeat of imperialism. First, popular mobilization, which was radicalized more and more, including taking down entire governments. Since the 80s until the 21st century, there was a process of which wasn't linear and wasn't always a linear process, which was led by the working class, which consolidated through that mobilization popular unity and participation. Second element, the crystallization of those new relationships of popular power, progressive and leftist. We cannot explain Chavez without the Caracazo of '89. We can't explain Evo without the resistance of the Bolivarian people, the resistance of the privatization of the resources. We can't explain Kirchner without the popular rebellion of 2001 in Argentina. As a third element, the importance of building strategies of struggle against the state in our countries to advance popular national sovereignty. Now, what do we understand by national sovereignty? First, sovereignty is control of our territories. We cannot continue to permit colonialist invasion in our countries. For example, in Argentina, Great Britain occupies illegally for 109 years the Maldives Islands, a strategic place in terms of resources and transoceanic trade. Sovereignty is our control of our trade. In many of our countries, ports are controlled by transnational powers. We must construct sovereign instruments that control the trade, the foreign trade in our countries. We must fight against the transnational corporations that appropriate those points of trade and make a mockery of our sovereignty. Sovereignty is to build autonomy, politically and economically. We cannot be at the fate of the dollar or on the policies imposed by international banks. We, in times like these, when they dare to debate if we need a central bank that regulates and defends our national currency, we must achieve autonomy from the dollar. These are very important tactics. International transactions that begin to take place not with the dollar. We must have a sovereign strategy about our militaries. We cannot let our military forces be aligned with imperialist forces, and that we are being ordered by the U.S. imperialism. National sovereignty is to build rights for our peoples, access to health, to shelter, to education. National sovereignty is to build a strategy in terms of technology, access to communications and information. National sovereignty is food sovereignty also. But to build that national sovereignty, we must necessarily assume that there is no bourgeois democracy. It is a fiction in which we are being actors. And this is something that is very hard to understand and accept in the militancy, even in terms of our own governments. The only true democracy, Blanca said yesterday, is that democracy is popular democracy, participatory democracy, revolutionary democracy. Our history shows us that all our victories and rights that we have achieved as peoples were through struggles, mobilization, and participation of the majority, the popular majority. Lastly, as a fourth element, the victory in the defeat of Alca taught us that it is necessary to build international unity against imperialism. We cannot, there is no way to oppose imperialism if we do not have an international strategy. That is what Fidel and Chavez understood. When some characters announced the end of history and they imposed this unipolar world in Cuba, Cuba started having meetings convoked by Fidel to reflect on national debt as a way of domination. Those victories of the revolution, the Cuban Revolution, were built on the trenches of Alca. Chavez, at the same time, as the great leader that he is, facing the alliance of the Pacific with Cuba, he constructed ALBA and then CELAC. In our region, the project of national integration come from the independence wars, from that first revolution in our continent, led by African slaves in Haiti. Today, imperialism is still bleeding from that wound. It was that revolution that opened the path to make our independence dreams possible. With Bolívar to help the liberation of the continent. Comrades, I want to put forth the idea that we need solidarity with the Haitian people in front of a new invasion by the UN and the United States. We must visibilize the Haitian struggle in any way possible so that their sovereignty is respected. Long live Haiti. In this world, marked by a structural crisis of the capitalist system, with unexpected results, we must consolidate the multipolarity as a political project. Is fundamental to rethink the global South. Multipolarity is inevitable, and it offers us an opportunity. We must assume in this framework the task of building a project of popular integration to insert ourselves in this multipolar world that will emerge. Toward this, I want to highlight something that has already been said. We must strengthen the socialist horizon, not as something to be said, but something that we act on daily as a strategy. From this premise, firstly, strengthen the experiences of popular power and revolutionary democracy. We in Argentina, we try to learn, but not always perfectly, from other experiences like in Venezuela, of the cooperatives, the MST in Brazil, in the popular movements in Peru, the defenses of the Colombian people, but we must learn much more. We must learn more from these popular movements in our continent. Second element, we must deepen the base work, the base mobilization from the periphery, for the urban peripheries, to build unity in the streets. Third element, strengthen the ideological battle, which today is the center of class war, as João Pedro said. the cultural battle, to show that our art, through our art, our songs, our culture, the world that we want to live in, our joy, our victories, we must invite our peoples to be part of another way of life based on the respect and love for each other. Fourth element, strengthen our values of solidarity, reciprocity, humility, and modesty. The pedagogy of example is fundamental. As a second orientation, to continue working to build a great front, a great anti-imperialist front as big as possible. These times are, imperialism is advancing ever faster, and it's getting even more violent, bombing entire peoples, millions of people displaced, their rights taken away. I want to put forth some elements to support that construction.
Debemos oponernos a las guerras, porque en ellas siempre perdemos los pueblos. Debemos movilizarnos por la paz y para denunciar ampliamente y lo más fuerte posible las diferentes intervenciones militares
oppose military interventions by the United States and the NATO, like in Ukraine. The United States and NATO are responsible for what's going on in Ukraine.
Una mención destacada, como lo ha
I
venido
want
siendo durante todos estos
a
días,
highlight
es nuestra más sentida solidaridad
is
con el
our
pueblo palestino.
solidarity with the Palestine people. We defend strongly the cause and the Palestine resistance. We want that the stolen territories are given back to the Palestinian people, and they can live with dignity. We want to claim the embargoes and the unilateral sanctions of the United States to several countries in the world. An international network is working to put pressure so that Cuba is written off the list that promote terrorism. Here, the only ones that have promoted terrorism during 200 years are the different governments of the United States. Cancel the Cuban embargo. Third element, an anti-imperialist front must struggle with coordination against transnational companies which loot our resources and they disrespect our sovereignty. That is, international companies of communication means, the media. And as the Indian comrade showed yesterday, these 20 companies are transnational, and they cause 33% of the emission of greenhouse gases. In our countries, Pfizer, Nestle, Coca-Cola, Google, or Monsanto are operating. It is our task to think how we coordinate among all of us to fight as a closed fist. And to conform an anti-imperialist front, we have to struggle against dollar as an international currency. And we have to strengthen our economies, like in Argentina and Pakistan. We have to fight against the international imperialist organizations like the International Monetary Fund. And finally, I want to suggest a task that I understand is fundamental and transversal to everything I have said, which is that following the heritage of Apolino Carvalho, the Che Guevara, Francisco Miranda, and so many other popular fighters, we have to strengthen our internationalism to make of this practice a pillar of our organizations. We have to put into practice a solidarity. A few days ago, one of our sisters that worked for internationalism passed away. She is a reference, a benchmark, and she worked in the International March of Women, from whom we learned a lot, and we will continue her struggle. Malu Farias, to victory always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to you, Comrade Manuel, for that very interesting input and for reminding us that we must continue to support Cuba, we must continue to reject the sanctions, and of course, solidarity with Haiti. Now we have our very last speaker. I really have the honor of introducing and welcoming back Comrade Leila Khalid of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. We thank her for all her contributions to the Palestinian cause and for her lifelong solidarity. Can we please stand up, comrades, and just honor her for her great sacrifice, for her militancy. Free, free Palestine! 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 Long live!
Long live the resistance!
Long live! Amanda! Thank you, comrades. Please take a seat.
Thank you very much.
I ask you to stand for 1 minute silence for the martyrs in Palestine and in all countries. Thank you. Gaza tonight was calling the human beings in this world. Are you ready to defend our martyrs, our children, our men? They are turning Gaza to a cemetery. Do you accept that?
No.
Then let's act. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm not going to say that we are mourning the Israelis and their supporters with Biden. These are the killers of our children. These are coming, Biden and the administration. Imagine this is the first time that Israel calls for protection, and all the West came to protect Israel and to tell Israel, go ahead, we are behind you. We are supporting you in your brutal Nazis. They are brutal to the extent that they prevented our children this morning in Gaza to go to their schools and to draw. But now they prevented them even to have water. Our children now is writing Palestine with their blood. They are calling for human beings in the world. They are calling you, and I know very well you will protect us also. But we will go on fighting. If one of us remain alive, we will continue this attack against our people. It's against humanity. This conference discussed the problems of humanity. It is now condensed in Gaza. The people are dying because they want to defend their land. They want to have freedom. This conference discussed the issues of freedom and socialism. We dream of socialism, but now we are still continuing our struggle against those barbarians, against the fascists. They have their cluster bombs, white phosphorus, which is not allowed, and nobody from the governments, from the NATO, from the reaction in the Arab world. I call upon you in your rallies, in your discussions, to take the truth about this conflict, to tell your people there are other people who are starving now, like what is happening in Africa or Latin America or Asia. There are people starving. We are starving for freedom, only for freedom, and then we think of bread. This is what's happening to the Palestinians anywhere. Anyhow, I call upon you, when you go back to your countries, kick out the Israeli embassy from your land. Kick out the American embassy on your land. And here in South Africa, that we learned from them how to be free. Don't let the Israeli embassy in Pretoria. Don't let the American embassy in Pretoria. Tell them out of South Africa. Tell them you are not allowed to stay on our lands. Tell them that when they represent the killers of children anywhere in this world, in Vietnam, in Iraq, in Sudan, in Syria, in everywhere, they launched wars against our peoples. So don't let them be on your free land. They are the beasts of the 21st century. So please do this. Act. You demonstrate. We know now, in every country, there are very big demonstrations. And still the killing is going on in Gaza. The demonstrations need also another action. Boycott them all. those who did not support our struggle, our right to be on our land, boycott them all. First, Israel. Boycott, divest, and sanctions on Israel. This is an action that helped our struggle. This is an action that you defend us and be with us all the time. I hope this conference have given us the time to address you. We heard all the words that we will take it with us to tell our people in Gaza. Every morning I call Gaza by telephone. Today they did not call. They did not answer because yesterday the comrades told me what they are doing there. And then they said, now we are calling you. I said, every morning we say good morning to each other. But they told me, maybe tomorrow will be late because we will be martyrs. This message, I transfer it to you. Imagine if anyone wants to say good morning for their children. Our children cannot answer. Our children, one of them was wounded. This is a video. His father is wounded, but the whole family died. The child was telling his father, when we call that in Arabic, Yaba. Yaba, don't be afraid. Yaba, don't be afraid. And then he died. Imagine this, how it is painful to us. We don't have the time to mourn because the Israelis are not giving us time to mourn. Our children, our women who wait for their children. Some of the women said, please God, take me to my children. They are in heaven. These pains and sufferings are repeated every now and then on our land in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Syria. The Palestinians are all over the world in their camps. Our camps were targeted. The Israelis and their allies don't want the witness. Those in the camps represent the witness of the catastrophe, of the Nakba. I'm from the generation of Nakba, this catastrophe in English. So this Nakba is repeated again. Now they want to transfer us from our land. They are calling for the Palestinians in Gaza to leave or die. They don't know the people in Gaza what they have always in mind. We stay on our land until death or freedom. This is the motto of the Gaza. This is the culture of the Palestinians. We learned from our experience and from other experience. In Gaza, they celebrate the dates of victory in Vietnam, in South Africa, in Latin America. They celebrate Cuba, Venezuela. They celebrate also the names, Che Guevara. Many women are named after Che Guevara. They are, one of them is Guevara Buderi is the name of Shireen Saakli, who was killed by the Israelis. And this means that our people are educated that they are a part of the international liberation movement. They know it, and they are educated in schools and outside schools. Can you imagine the Gazan children when Fukushima in Japan was, there was tsunami and explosions of the nuclear they went to the sea, they wrote on their balloons, and they sent a message to Fukushima. I was in Japan afterwards. The government, represented by the police, they came to me when I was going out. They say, thank you, because you visited Fukushima, but we will never forget that the children of Gaza expressed their solidarity in their innocent way to send us balloons, and we received. I told them, look, Japanese fighters, they went to Tel Aviv in the 30th of May, and they opened fire in the. One of them was, and they all died. I think that some of you, or all of you, heard of Shigenobi, the woman who was arrested in Japan to help, because she helped the Palestinians in the media, and the others died. I remind you also of Rachel Corrie from the United States, that young woman who was killed by the Israelis by a bulldozer. This woman is a hero for us. We never forget those who came to Palestine, and they did a lot of things for our people. After every war, Gaza received thousands of delegations coming to Palestine to help. And still they remember their names, and still they are eager to meet them again. Now, if you go to Palestine, you will see that the 2 million became 1 million, not because of immigration, but because of the Holocaust, the Israeli Holocaust, the Zionist Holocaust that happened these days in Gaza. They always lie to the people that they are a people without land who came to a land without people. And when they found that this is a big mistake, they wanted to make Palestine without a people. But we declare it very high, with high voice. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
From the river to the street to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
I will tell you a message from the General Secretary of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, whom I represent. He is in his prison, Ahmed Saadat. He sent you a message of being grateful to you, and he is sending it from his solitary confinement in prison. Now he spent about 16 years, and he is sentenced for 30 years, not for anything he did, but because he is the General Secretary of PFLP after the rockets killed our General Secretary in 2001 by 2 rockets called Abu Ali Mustafa. And then Ahmed Saadat was elected as the General Secretary of our party. Now he is in prison. All our cadres now in prison. Since last year, the Israelis, the jailers, put in our jails all the Central Committee members and all the Politburo members in the West Bank. They are in jail now. But these people are facing the jailers and Ben Gvir, who is targeting all prisoners. Now they are 7,000 prisoners. And he wants every day to count them and to attack them. They bring soldiers to throw grenades in their cells, in the parts where they stay in prison, because he wants to end their life also. This is the way. But the prisoners are united in hunger strike. Before on the 6th of October, they had a hunger strike because they are moving prisoners from place to place to make their life hell. I will tell you the story of a prisoner who spent 37 years in prison called Walid Daqqa. Please remember this name. This man he is from Baqa, a village is on the borders to Jenin in the West Bank. He is from 1948. He was 18 years old, and he was sentenced for life. He passed 37 years. He got married, but his wife is out of jail, only on papers. But what he did, he sent his sperms to his wife, and she gave a girl child, called Milad. Milad in Arabic means birthday. Now this child is 4 years old. She always, when she is allowed to visit her father, who is sick for some years ago with cancer, and it's a rare cancer. He is in prison. He is in in a confinement. So he had to have operation. They operated his lung, but they are not doing anything for his spinal cord. He is a thinker. He is one of the main thinkers in prison. He writes. He is a writer. He studied in prison, like many of the prisoners. They study there. The prison is not only to stay alone. You are educated there. They go for education. He has masters in political science, but they put him in a clinic, not in the hospital, to receive treatment. When his daughter visited him, they gave her 5 minutes to go to his bed, and she began to kiss him from his feet until his head. They were crying, even the jailers, to see the child whom she did not touch her father since her birthday. That was the first time. He said I got oxygen. I'm getting the treatment now, and I will be cured from cancer. Ben-Gvir said he will not go out. All the calls, what was done to release him, to have the opportunity for treatment. But this beast, Ben-Gvir, the Minister of National Security, he said he shouldn't go out, only to a grave. Can you imagine this human being? Does he have any sense of humanity? They want us dead. Even they declare that the good Arab is the dead one, because he is dead. These stories hold with it all the sufferings of any human being. It holds also the pain that we have it in our hearts for these prisoners. This means to us, we don't go only mourning, crying, but it stirs all the anger in our hearts, in our minds, to continue the struggle, because we want to free ourselves and our land at the same time. This is what we think. So when you liberate your land, it means you are defending your homeland. We want to go back to our homeland. This is our right for return by the resolutions of the United Nations. But this resolution is in the drawer still since 1948. What is this international community? Lately, in the Council, the Security Council at the United Nations, Russia suggested to denounce the attack this time. Only 5 supported it and the others were against. Is this the international community that we want to depend on to help us? I think we are seeing things nowadays, that those human beings sitting in luxury places, and they have their children going and having breakfast, the milk. Our children are not having milk or water. Cannot they? Biden said, I saw the photos of the Israeli children cut, her heads are cut. CNN answered, he doesn't have evidence, any evidence. There are no such thing. This is in Gaza. The CNN and Washington Post, I think. He even lies. Imagine Biden coming to Tel Aviv. He first gave the message to the Arabs, to the Arab reaction, to tell them, stop all this. They don't want to see even demonstrations in the streets. He's coming to support the killers. And all of us spoke about imperialism. This is the translation of imperialism. When there are wars, they go to support the killers, the Nazis, the fascists, and to rescue Israel from its unhuman policy towards us. I will end saying, you are freedom fighters. Those who are calling for facing imperialism and its actions, they are freedom fighters, and you are freedom fighters. Thank you very much.
Free, free Palestine! 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 Thank you, comrades. Thank you. Thank you so much, comrades.
Comrade Stephanie, please come to the stage. I will offer Stephanie as a representative of this conference and all guests here. I brought this before the attack, but I insist to tell you, the women, the Palestinian women embroider their culture on these. But now these women are dead with their sons, their children. Please take this and call for everybody that women of Palestine will embroider one day freedom, things like this.
Oh, give her another hand, comrades. We are truly grateful for your words, Comrade Khalid. We will not forget your suffering, we will not forget your struggle, we will not forget the sacrifices of the people of Palestine. And I think as South Africans, we have a particular responsibility to take this battle forward. We ended apartheid because of international solidarity. There were bodies from Cuba left on the African continent here in the Battle of Cuito Carnavale because they came all the way to come and fight our battle. And it is time now for us to fight this battle. The Palestinian people must be free. They need to be free from the colonizers, from occupation. The least we can do is to expel the ambassador of Israel from our country. That is the least that we can do. We need to do so much more than that. And today is the day when we need to start mobilizing, when we need to start rallying support and pushing and assisting and helping our comrades to win this war once and for all, so that Palestine can be free. Thank you very much, comrade, for your input. So now that you've heard from all our esteemed guests, and we do thank them for all of their inputs and what they have shared with us today, we would like to give some speakers, 4 speakers. Ooh, I can see though there's a long queue already. Comrades, unfortunately we don't have that much time, but we are going to prioritize the first 4 speakers. If there's time after that, we will allow another round, but for now, the first 4 speakers, I'm going to request that before you speak, you give your name, the country that you're from, and you also give interpreters an opportunity, if you don't speak English, to interpret for you. Thank you. You have 5 minutes each. Thank you very much. You may proceed, comrade.
عامل زراعة من الأردن.
Amir Zira from Jordan. I would like to extend my thanks to our people in South Africa. We've learned much from them. One of the lessons I learned is that when I return to my country, I will contact the writers and artists to start writing songs that we will be using, like in South Africa. Stand up, rise up, move forward, shake the land. On October 7, October 7 is the date of a new dawn for all the people in the world. We've learned on October 7 the ability to defeat the occupation forces or the occupation state. That day, we've seen the unity of the people of the world against the occupation state and the Nazism of Zionism. On that day, the people of the world united against naturalization of relations with a new Nazi entity. On that day, the people of the world had solidarity with the Palestinian people. It is the utmost token of solidarity with the people of Palestine. We can have more solidarity with Palestine if we organize and unite all of the working forces all over the world. Thank you.
Comrades, my name is Na Ayele Adefiu Setre. I come from Ghana, and I'm so happy to be in this conference because now I know and I have learned from the various speakers that the Free Palestine call is more urgent than all of us have deemed it to be. It's very, very urgent now because I see it as saving ourselves. Otherwise, we sit down for our brothers and sisters in Palestine to be eliminated. A point was made yesterday, and I want to reiterate that point, that we unify our struggles, and now I see it as more urgent, and I am looking forward to a 1 million people march, a 20 million people march, a 30 million people march, or a 40 million people march across our countries and continents, because it is that urgent. And I hope that if we are leaving here, we're leaving here with a strategy to implement this march. Because it is crucial. It has become more urgent. The bombings are continuing, and we can't just sit. I want to make another point. Yesterday in our Commission on Science and Technology, that we have all these young men and women across the continent, in fact, but the example was given from Kenya. And these young men and women are building apps, which apps are being applied in the communities. And in Ghana, I can cite the example of garbage collectors. They have built the apps which help them to coordinate their activities. And that is the kind of thing I'm looking for. But I was made afraid. Why? Because I was told that the multinationals are coming in to grab these young ones of ours. Are we just going to sit for that to happen? We need to move in fast. I was heartened also when I was told that these young men and women actually know that when they sell these apps to the so-called multinationals and imperialists, they are selling their souls and they're selling all of us. So for that, I am grateful that they can hold on to these things. Because you look at a country like Ghana where the government will support VW, and there is a local company, Kantanka, that is actually building vehicles, which the government won't put any fund into, but will easily welcome VW to come and set up in the country. So this, for me, has become more urgent, and I'm looking out for the strategies that we leave this conference with, that as individuals, all of us, that we commit that until we have socialism enter our souls, we're not going to give up, and we're going to build it bit by bit, action by action, moving forward. Brothers and sisters, finally, I would want to say that a sister of ours was on the podium, and she said something which she pointed out was a call for action. I'm going to repeat that so that we all know that just like you say Amandla away to Minkani. This is when you say Choboy, it's a call for action. And so I'm going to say Choboy so that you all respond to me. When I say Choboy, you say yay, and that's a call for action. So Choboy! Yeah. Choboy! Yeah. Choboy! Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Comrade Benji from Partido Manggagawa in the Philippines. Let me start with expressing solidarity with the Palestinian people and all the oppressed peoples around the world. The Philippines suffered from more than 300 years of colonialism, first under Spain, then the United States, and then Japan. We became politically independent but remained a neo-colony, and that deepened during neoliberal globalization. We were not only plundered economically, but we were utilized as an American outpost with U.S. military bases in the Philippines used to project American power and also intervene globally, such as during the Vietnam War. But decades of resistance finally kicked out the military bases in the 1990s. But today, American soldiers and weapons are back with a vengeance in the Philippines under the pretext first of the war on drugs and most recently because of tensions in the South China Sea. So once more, the Philippines is being used as a pawn and being dragged into a possible war in the Pacific under the aegis of the Americans. In response, the left in the Philippines is campaigning against war in the Pacific and for peace. This is in the material interests of the working people in our country and others in the Pacific. And it also challenges the imperialist agenda in our part of the globe. However, I want to explain to the comrades here that for now, the call for peace is an unpopular opinion in the Philippines. As you could imagine, the media, the political class whips up anti-war hysteria. It doesn't help when Chinese cargo ships harass small Filipino fishers out of the South China Sea and deprives them of their livelihood. It falls into the hands of American warmongering, unfortunately. But still, we remain committed, the left in the Philippines, not just our organization in particular, but the whole left, in campaigning against war and for peace. We believe this is one front in the global anti-imperialist struggle. And so let me end with a call to the delegates and the participants for support for the campaign against war and for peace in the Pacific. Thank you.
Good morning. My name, en español, perdón. Sí. Mi nombre es Diane.
My name is Diane. I'm from Puerto Rico. Diane Viera, Puerto Rico. I represent the national liberation movements of our nation. My organization is called Jornada Se Acabaron las Promesas. I also represent Alba Movimientos in Puerto Rico. I will start expressing that my heart also hurts with Palestine. Their fight is our fight because it's a fight against capitalism and imperialism, against the empire that loots us, that displaces us, that assassinates us, and it's the same empire, the U.S. empire, the same empire that in 1898 attacked us and occupied us illegally, usurping our sovereignty, political, economic, and that in these days again shows its capacity of destruction of this destruction of the spirit, and what is the identity by imposing a fiscal control board, which is the government that governs Puerto Rico right now, a government we did not choose, that supposedly protects democracy. The empire that supposedly protects democracy in the world has a colony under their flag. And we, in the fight for independence in Puerto Rico, in the international stage, that more, aside from national independence, any action that does not promote national independence is unacceptable to our dignity and our national dignity as Puerto Ricans, Boricuas. I also want to put forth that it is necessary and fundamental the support in solidarity to our Puerto Rican nation, recognizing that Puerto Rico is a nation whose sovereignty has been stolen thanks to this illegal occupation and invasion. That is why in this fight against colonialism in the world and for our independence, we must take actions to recognize that nature of the usurpation, the invasion and occupation of Puerto Rico. And it is important, that independence is important in order for us to give those first steps to have some form of democracy, as we were speaking yesterday. We also say that it is necessary to eliminate colonialism all over the world, not only in the Caribbean, including the Maldives. And that it is necessary and fundamental for us to recognize all the action and resistance that is taking place in Puerto Rico, all the actions and resistance that is taking place in the island. And in the 1950 revolutionary action in Puerto Rico, I want to highlight the work, the struggle, Lolita Lebron, our heroine, who led the attack on the Congress of the United States to call attention to the joke of the imperial joke that we are not a colony. Her work is the flame that inspires all the struggles, and that we owe to her our victories. When we stopped the extraction of our mountain regions, and when we stopped the bombing in one of our islands, Vieques, bombing by the U.S. Marines. And that is the flame that all the women here present ignite, all the brave women that are present here. I want to give my greetings to Leila Khaled for her contribution as a model for us, that flame that ignites our struggles. And Lolita Lebron vive. Willy Mariquezela lives. Maru Palia lives. And as long as Puerto Rico remains a colony, the project of Latin American integration will not be victorious. Long live Palestine. Down with the Yankee empire. Without a Caribbean, there is no America. And long live Puerto Rico, a free Puerto Rico. Okay.
Just a reminder, comrades, you've only got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Four. Say 4.
No, I said 5 minutes. Oh, 4 minutes. You've only got 4 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Bueno, I take 4 más 5, 9. Bueno, en español. Buenas compañeras, compañeros, Ronaldo Ortiz,
from the National Front for the Defense of the Economic and Social Rights of Central America, Panama, and I belong to the ALBA movement as well. We are the inheritors of the struggle of liberation against imperialism, since they came from Europe to loot us and to murder our ancestors. So we are identified with the positions that have been expressed in this important event. Discussing the dilemmas of humanity. We're identified because we have a military and political occupation of the imperialist government of the United States of America, which is 150 years old. And our region, the Central America and the Caribbean, we have confronted from the political, militarily, through elections, through mass organizations, civil organizations. We have had the opportunity of confronting imperialism through the wars of national liberation in the region, organizing the people, and still we are going through a process looking for social justice and national sovereignty. And Panama especially has a strong feeling, which is very rooted, which is an anti-imperialist feeling, because we suffered an invasion on the 20th of December of 1889, when the army of the United States, when Nogueira, who was a CIA agent, decided to sacrifice 5,000 Panamanians. I suffered that invasion when I was a kid, so we identify ourselves with the Palestinian people, because we lived that situation recently, and we have a doubt with the peoples that fight for their self-determination. Panama will also join through the administration of the state, but beyond that, when we hold power, we will be together with the peoples like Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, promoting the socialist revolution and pushing forward or trying to conquest the equality among peoples. This is expressing our solidarity. But when we say alert, alert, because this is a feeling of our Latin American anti-imperialism since the times of Bolivar and Martí and black and Indian people. We have been always fighting against imperialism. We fight for the national and social liberation. At this moment, we express our solidarity with the Palestine people. And I want to, it is important to listen what the reality of African people are. I think we will have to go on getting to get to know what is the situation of the African people. But we have now living this event with a greatest and stronger commitment towards the African people as well. And now to wrap up, I want to say that the company Freeze Quantum, which I think is Canadian Capital, which is a mining company who is here they are here in South Africa. We are confronting them in Panama because a mining project has been approved, and we have a very small country. We don't want these mining projects being implemented, but the Portillo, Carrizo, which are in front of the pro-imperialist Panamanian government, we are fighting against this project, which is an imposition of imperialism, and that company should be denounced, and what the Panama right-wing government is doing. And we, in the middle of this struggle, we we put in the air the flags of the Palestine people and the flags of the national and patriotic liberation. I want to repeat with me, without struggle,
Alerta que camina la lucha antiimperialista por el mundo y América Latina. Gracias.
Thank you, comrade. And again, a reminder, please, comrades, so that everybody gets a chance to talk. You have 4 minutes. I don't want to interrupt you, but if you make me, I will. Because of the fact that today is the last day, we are allowing more of our more respondents. So I'm going to rely on Comrade Stephanie to tell me when we're done. Thank you.
Merci, camarades. Je suis Ibrahim Akebe. Je viens du Mali. Mon organisation s'appelle Faso Kano, ça veut dire littéralement en français amour de la patrie. Je pense que ce qui se passe aujourd'hui en Palestine est vraiment inacceptable. Donc, au-delà des discours, des déclarations simples dans cette salle, je pense que nous devons nous mettre d'accord pour qu'au retour dans nos pays respectifs, que nous puissions travailler à rassembler les forces
to be in agreement to put together all the progressive forces in order to organize manifestation for the people of Palestine. This is very important. I think the theme that have been shared so far is quite important. We have spoken about anti-imperialism. This is something that we need to debate. But before us, our people have spoken against imperialism. And if we today wish to work in this regard, we shouldn't be selective. Imperialism must be fought against without any restriction, without any reserve. Wherever it is expressed, we need to fight it because this system needs to be uprooted, according to me. We spoke about the colonial contract from the 16th century. And this contract that is spoken of today, we need to remind ourselves that in some countries of Western Africa, there have been militants who fought for their independence through the fire of imperialism, and they kicked out all the French colonials without any fear. They never signed any contract with France like the President Modibo Keïta did in Mali. And after 1960, he threw away all the French armies, and also he made sure that he nationalized all the companies to turn them into Mali own enterprise, and he has set in place as well a money of the country which was the Mali's money. But yet we have some people who are still cooperating with French imperialism, and I think we need just to be specific in our statement. That's what he was saying. We spoke about sovereignty, and this is quite important. I think we should have a broad analysis regard to sovereignty. Can we say that a country is sovereign when their whole the superficie of its land is not under its full control, while they cannot exercise the control over their flag, over their slogan, and over their values? It means that we don't have really progressist leaders who are desiring to work so that their country may really shine as a people who are free. And I think to land, we need indeed to fight imperialism. I am putting again it before you that we shouldn't be selective. Wherever there is any expression of imperialism, we ought to stand the ground and fight against it, because imperialism is what is the disease that is killing the world. And that's why Modibo Keïta said imperialism can only respect the people that respect themselves, that do not don't draw back in front of any danger or any threat. All for one and one for all. Thank you, comrade.
Good afternoon, comrades. Good afternoon, comrades. Allow me to extend two messages through my speech. The first message is to the organizations and parties present from different countries. Allow me, comrades, while leaving Johannesburg and returning to your countries, I would like to give you this message that will unify us and unify our struggles for the Palestinian cause. The first message is as follows. We are filled with hope to see you extend the actual, real picture of the war crimes committed by the Zionists against the people of Palestine. The second message is that we call upon you all to organize solidarity campaigns and marches, to exercise pressure over your governments to stop this war and close all Israeli embassies in your respective countries. I have a message for the Secretariat of the conference. Allow me, please, comrades, to say the following. Anything mentioned on Palestine in the final statement, which is not coupled with action, will be meaningless. Therefore, I wish from the conference to send two letters, one to the ICC and one to the General Secretary of the UN. In light of what happened yesterday in the Mamadani Hospital and Ahli Hospital, these are considered as war crimes and must be, and the Zionist forces must be prosecuted because of those crimes. At the end, I would like to thank the organizers. Thank you, South Africa. Thank you, Johannesburg. Thank you, NUMSA. And long live our struggles. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I'm Magda Lashley from Cuba, from the west coast of Cuba, from Santiago de Cuba, and I'm here representing the Martin Luther King Center based in Havana. And I want to give a warm welcome from the east to the west side of Cuba. First of all, I want to share infinite gratitude to all of the people that are present here, to all of the militants that are present here, because Cuba lives and works and resists thanks to international solidarity. Cuba would have been unable to uphold their socialist revolution, to maintain the dignity and autodetermination of a sovereign people without the presence of all of the solidarity that we receive internationally. So we thank you so much for being part of this national project. And for those of us here in Cuba, just as many other fraternal nations that maintain socialist dignity, there is no turning back. There's no turning back. There's no. An anti-imperialist nation is the only way of maintaining human dignity. And this is why it is important to unite revolutionary forces. During all of these seminars, all of the panels, we have dialogued and discussed, but we have recognized the need to uphold the revolutionary forces of the world, and there is a large representation of them. And we need to live socialism here and now. Here it is. These are one of the invitations I have for you to think about it, and to think about different modes of productions, but also to think about things subjectively, and to think about living as a society collectively. And this is an invitation to you all to try and reach the dream and uphold the dream of creating just societies. To our Palestinian brothers and sisters, and to our brothers and sisters that we have right there in Haiti, and also to our brothers and sisters that suffer war in other parts of the world, to our brothers and sisters that are being constantly displaced from their lands, that are being used as objects of the accumulation of capital, people deprived of their cultures, of their language. To those people I say as well that the tears that we cry today, those same tears that we dried off when we heard Layla Khaled say, and those images that could take place anywhere in the world, not just Palestine, those tears shed today will be the victories and the laughter of tomorrow. To victory forever. Down with the blockade.
Amanda, where to? Greetings, the program director.
Bonjour
My name is
à la modératrice. Je m'appelle
I'm from the Socialist Revolutionary Workers Party, South Africa.
Socialiste révolutionnaire de l'Afrique du Sud.
And we would like to first thing applaud Numsa leadership for organizing this international gathering for us to come and theorize, because we understood that there can be no revolutionary movement forward without a revolutionary theory. But we believe that we cannot theorize forever, comrades. We must theorize and end. We believe that the time for talking is now over. Now is the time for action. We believe strongly that the capitalist system is busy intensifying its power outside there. And the working class and the poor are under siege as we speak. The time for talking is over. This SRWP is a revolutionary workers' party that was crystallized by NUMSA, is just 4 years old. The SRWP hates the capitalism and the imperialism with passion. And we want to encourage all workers of the world also to hate this system with passion. We know the capitalism needs workers. And sometimes workers need capitalism. But capitalism only needs you workers in order to suck your blood. And it will suck your blood up until you die. Now is the time for the workers and the working class of the world to mobilize and organize themselves as a class for itself. It is the time for us to stand up and crush this system, because the system of capitalism is inherently rotten, is inherently corrupt. It cannot exist without creating problems for humanity. This system, it is unfortunate that it has got no solution for the problem that it has created. As we speak, the people of Palestine are being slaughtered and butchered every day. And their butcher is the capitalist and imperialist Israeli army, supported by the Western countries, including USA. Now we call upon, as the SRWP, to all working class of the world to unite and embark on a revolutionary program, comrades. We can no longer come back to this international conference with the complaints. We have learned since Saturday that we all have a common problems in the whole world. Problem that has been created by the capitalism, nothing else. And we think from now on, we must force our bourgeois government to make sure that they are expelling the ambassadors of Israel in our countries. And they must withdraw the ambassadors of their countries in Israel. It is important that we do that. It is our duty and the responsibility, comrade, that we boycott all the services and the goods or the product that produced by Israel. We should not buy anything that is coming from Israel, comrade. It is important, comrade, that people cannot be slaughtered and butchered in front of us. We must support Abahlali Basem Jondolo. We must support the people of Palestine. We must support the people of Eswatini and everywhere where they are being butchered. And I thank you.
Bonjour, camarades.
Good day, comrades. I would like to remind ourselves here that in the Sahel region, we've got two preoccupations. Comrade Philip said it well, that we are going to engage in a revolutionary process against the French anti-imperialist in the Niger region. We chased away the military bases. That is not all. No, we now are to chase the American military bases. So we're going to engage in a new battle against imperialism. But what I'm more interested is that in 1960, we were told that you are independent, but you have to sign agreements. No, the agreements that were signed, and we don't have independence. 63 years later, we are still battling and grappling for sovereignty. So we have a challenge, which is sovereignty. The second challenge is democracy, because in the year 1990 we were told that you can have democracy which will change and resolve your problem. We noticed that a number of years we still don't have that democracy. That means that somewhere we were weakened, not only at the organizational level, but ideological level. We didn't question that term, meaning democracy. I'm happy to hear that one of the panelists saying that there's only democracy under socialism, because that term never meant anything but the power for the poor, the diminished, the majority, and then the poor. It never said the poor, the power for the riches. The founders of the United States have never been Democrats. Even the French Revolutionary, they detested, they hated that term. So for more than 2,000 years, here is a term that has been hated by all the people that used it, by all intellectuals, because it is the power for the people. It makes them shake. And we had a concession concerning this term, and the result is that we are under delusions, and we speak about bourgeois democracy that does not exist, and that we have only one democracy which is socialist in nature. We've got to remember that. That is a same term. With the comrade Leila, we ended by believing to the lies of the Zionist people. That is not true. The people of Palestine have their land. We say a people without land that lives in a land, comes to a land without people. So it is normal that they occupy that. The people of Palestine were present. Now, the people that came with the Israel people has nothing to do with the Judea. He historically proved these people are converted because the religion of the Jews is proselyte. So it's a European people, Western Europe,
which were converted, they are not the one coming. They are not people that were cast out. Those that were cast out are the ones that are around Palestine, and they are the ones who are still there. So there are intellectuals in Israel that recognize and know that they are not people who came from far that make the people, the Jew people, but those that are already there. Now, for not asking a lot of questions, we manage to listen to what they're saying. Now, in our fight towards liberation, we don't only stop by manifestation to denounce fascism, Zionists, but we should also demonstrate to demystify, because there is an imposter in the speeches. As long as we do not use those speeches, we do not decolonize the speeches, we will continue to be under siege. So forward to the fight against or for liberation, and a theoric analysis to have a revolutionary fight. I thank you.
Comrades, when you see me stand, it means your time is up. Okay, thank you.
Boa tarde, camaradas, companheiros.
Good afternoon, comrades, brothers and sisters. We're here in name of the youth of Amilcar Cabral. We are from a party that has in its history had the history of liberating two nations from the Guinea and Cape Verde. And I'm sending my salutations to my sister of Cape Verde and saying that we are in a common struggle and we're going to continue to struggle together. Here, to the side, to her side, there is a combatant on freedom for the land, and she was a pioneer in the struggle for national liberation and the first deputy. And I'm asking the crowd to clap for this woman. And I would also like to send my solidarities and greetings to my brother from Senegal and say that we are brothers. At the same time, we are brothers. The struggle with people of Senegal is happening the same way as the people from Guinea-Bissau and Guinea-Conakry are doing together. And colonialism is still present, and we must banish and fight against it, struggle against it. We understand as youth that the best trainers in the world, Pepe Gudish, on sports language, the best way of stopping the enemy is if capitalism has U.S., socialism has China and Russia. Why should we be afraid of facing capitalism? We shouldn't be afraid of capitalism. We need to understand at least Guinea-Bissau through the party that throughout its last years haven't been in the government, but it's year by year we continue to grow and win because we continue to be organized and to face capitalism. But us, we can't have this struggle alone. Can you imagine that Kamiasa is not present in Guinea-Bissau? A government leaving on June 4th. It hasn't been 2 months of mandate, and capitalism has continued and will continue to fight against this government. Right now, we have a question if within a month or 3 months, the government is going to be able to continue. Do you know why? Because capitalism continues there. Because Guinea-Bissau is full of oil, and Guinea-Bissau knows that, and Guinea-Conakry knows that. We have bauxite, we have phosphate, we have a lot of riches under the soil, and capitalism will never allow socialism to take this opportunity. But we are not. The ones to guilt is generation that is a coward, that is not fighting for its future, for its development. We have solidarity with Senegal, not with all Senegal, but with Pastef, with Sumar Sonko. Again, to continue to be marginalized in an unfair way, and we're not going to accept that. In Guinea-Bissau, Who doesn't know the determination of the actual president of the party? This generation, together with other generations, are struggling together. We shouldn't be afraid of capitalism. We are going to starve if we don't accept to struggle, to fight. We're going to die of poverty if we don't accept to fight. And the youth has to be in the forefront in the struggle for development and self-determination. Viva to IPCC, Viva Guinea-Bissau, Viva Africa, Viva socialism, abash capitalism, bash. Abash capitalism, bash. Thank you, comrades.
Joan Tobar de Venezuela, de la Unión Comunera. Quisiera dirigirme en estas primeras palabras.
I would like to, I'm from Venezuela, I would like,
querida y admirada Laila.
Laila, our courageous Laila said, we wanted to tell you the feeling of of our outrage regarding the future of the Palestine people, because bombing children is bombing the future of the Palestine people. This cowardly attack, our government, directed by President Maduro, has issued a communique condemning this crime, this policy of apartheid and extermination. Chavismo is still on the street defending the freedom of the Palestine people, and we express our solidarity to their cause. I also want to give you a message from the people of Venezuela to our brothers and sisters who started a rebellion in the in Sahel, those brotherly peoples from Africa. We admire your rebellions. Venezuela was colony twice, first with the Spanish Empire and then with the American imperialism. So we express our solidarity, but we admire and we have a deeply solidarity feeling. We want to transmit that we will follow up the construction of the independence of the commune and African socialism. The Venezuela Comuneros are anxious to come and help when you call, if you call us. I want to express this assembly that before the war the American imperialism is waging, especially the Netanyahu and Biden warmongers against Iran, Palestine, Lebanon, etc., with the presence of the aircraft carrier, American aircraft carrier, and the already announced invasion of Haiti, the attempt to invade Venezuela and install there a new Israel in Latin America. Before these threats to peace and human life, we propose that this assembly the fights and the struggle of our peoples, our alternative economy, our schools of political education, our feminist struggles, popular and anti-patriarchal struggle, but also our militias, communal militias, and that our art, our culture, and before the absence of a communist international, this assembly should assume the role it has to have, history, and that it commands our peoples and serves to show what the course of future history should be. Before all these aspects should come together to confront imperialism. And we can tell you that It's high time now. There is nothing more powerful than idea when it's high time. And it's high time now that our peoples, let's internationalize the struggle, brothers and sisters. Let's internationalize the struggle. Independence, commune, and socialism.
Thank you, comrade. Can we have the next speaker? Our very last speaker will be the lady with the glasses. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. I know a lot of people want to speak, but there really is just no more time. Thank you, comrades. 4 minutes. You may go.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Kumar from the Socialist Party of Malaysia. And it's been very inspiring to see you all and listen to what you're saying. And I feel very honored to be addressing the leaders of the progressive movements across the world. And as vanguards of the workers' movements or the progressive movements in all our countries, I think we have to be responsible. We have to be very responsible because in many countries, we are in a bad situation. Like our comrade from Senegal talked, how the last 30 years of neoliberal policies foisted by IMF and World Bank have made us now food dependent. Our sovereignty in food has been undermined. We in Africa used to make your textiles. The textile industry has been undermined by cheap imports. So we are going to take over countries. Let's say we succeed. We're going to take over a country which is dependent on food imports in a situation where our imports exceed our exports. We have a balance of payment problem. We don't have money. This is a situation that we will face when we take over. Now we, as the leaders of this movement, as the vanguard, need to have very clear ideas of how we're going to extricate ourselves from the free trade agreements that we have signed up on, and how we're going to rebuild our economy so we can get food sovereignty, so we can get energy sovereignty, so that we can get medical supplies, the basics. And I think we shouldn't pretend it's going to be easy. You know, slogans won't do it. You've got to have concrete plans. And there has to be, for the first few years, sacrifice by all strata of society. We can do this if we all sacrifice. No one needs to starve. But that has got to be sold to the people. We cannot be telling them, we'll take over and tomorrow you'll have everything, because that is not possible. It's going to be a tough struggle, but it can be done. But to do that, we have to think things through. We have to be responsible. We've got to think of where can we get some soft loans. Will the BRICS give us? Will China give us? Soft loans, first 5 years we don't pay you back. But we use it to rebuild our economy so that we can get food security. I mean, we can get food security in Africa, but it's not immediate, not the day after the revolution. It takes you a year, maybe it takes you 2 years. So we got to sell this program to our people and not give them ideas that tomorrow we're going to double your wages and give you free housing. We can do that in 10 years. But immediately, we got to get people to buy. It's going to be a tough struggle, but it's not impossible. In my office in Malaysia, we have this big sign of Che, and it says, be realistic and do the impossible. To do the impossible, you have to be realistic. You've got to have a plan, and you've got to get the people in your country on board to that plan. And that is being responsible as a vanguard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our very last speaker, and then we'll be done.
Amandla. Hi, everybody. I'm going to be brief. I'm not speaking, just sharing something. My name's Maya. I'm an organizer and activist based here in Joburg, but I'm originally from anti-imperialist and anti-fascist spaces in Turtle Island and in the south of India. It's been such an honor to hear from all the comrades here and all the fierce and revolutionary solidarity and ideas. And there's been a lot coming out of this space about the importance of taking joint action together, about coordinating our struggle. And we just heard from Comrade Leila Khaled, who urged us to step up for the liberation of Palestine. So I just want to share with you something tangible happening tonight here in Joburg. It is organized by the South African Jews for a Pre-Palestine. I am not on the organizing team, but I received this from trusted comrades who are. They are an amazing anti-Zionist group based here. I want to read out the description of the event and some of what they've shared. And I also want to share that I've been told to emphasize that this is not part of the conference. The conference cannot provide logistical support or dinner there. But if you want to talk to me, I can help you figure out how to get there. It's very close. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the direct action is a protest. South African Jews say no to Israel committing genocide, apartheid, and settler colonialism by South African Jews for a Free Palestine. Join us in solidarity, all welcome. I believe the event coordinators also have the image, so can maybe put it up later. It is tonight, 18 October 2023, starting at 5:30 p.m. in Rosebank, the corner of Bolton and Jan Smuts Avenue. That's about 10 minutes north of here in a car. You can come talk to me during lunch if you want to go. I think probably if you have a flight tonight, it would be difficult to make it, but and the conference wants to let you know that as well. But if you are sticking around and you want to show up in solidarity tonight here in Joburg, feel free to come to me or talk to the conference organizers who have the information. I know that closing session ends at 6, so maybe folks can roll out together after that. And here's to a free Palestine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for that invitation. And on that note, unfortunately, we must end the day. We must end the comments. I really apologize. I know there are a lot of people, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who want to speak, but we've really run out of time. So I'm just going to quickly give you what's remaining. There's a youth meeting which is happening in this tent at 1:45. The closing ceremony is only for the delegates, and it starts at 2:50. At 10 minutes to 3 is the closing ceremony. It will be up there at the main gate. Please bring your flags if you've got flags. On that note, we want to